organized system of preventive maintenance and inspection provides your department with the best assurance that the apparatus will be in top condition, ready to respond to an emergency situation. Every driver-operator should be able to inspect the apparatus and its equipment to determine if everything is in working order. And even though most departments utilize mechanics for extensive inspections and repairs, the apparatus driver-operator is often responsible for many of the routine tasks of preventive maintenance. In this program, we will demonstrate some of the tasks involved in routine apparatus inspection and maintenance. The training objectives are to demonstrate a systematic apparatus inspection procedure, to present the tasks for routine maintenance of the apparatus, and to show procedures for inspection and preventive maintenance of the fire pump. Fire department apparatus and equipment that are maintained in optimum operating condition are essential to response readiness. Accurate and descriptive records should be kept of all preventive maintenance performed on each apparatus. Driver-operators are responsible for filling out the appropriate forms for the maintenance tasks that they perform, and they need to be sure that the forms get routed and filed according to department SOPs. In addition to maintenance, inspection routines are important because you can often avoid a breakdown and costly repair if you catch a problem in its early stages. It is advisable to have a prepared checklist for regular inspections of the apparatus. By using the list and performing the inspection in a consistent step-by-step manner, you will be sure to remember each component of the apparatus. One method of performing an apparatus pre-trip inspection is the walk-around or circle inspection. For this inspection, you start at the driver's door of the cab and walk around the apparatus in a clockwise direction. Let's watch a typical pre-trip inspection using the walk-around method. As you approach the apparatus, check for any general problems, such as body damage, or if the vehicle is leaning to one side. Look under the apparatus to notice if there are any leaking fluids. Now, check the left side of the cab. Make sure the doors close and latch properly, and that any steps, handrails, and platforms are securely mounted and in good condition. Check the condition of the tires and wheels. Notice if the wheels are cracked, or if they are missing any lugs or clamps. Check that the lug nuts are on tight. The tires should be properly inflated and should have enough tread depth. Look for any signs of tread separation, excessive wear on the sidewalls, cuts, or foreign objects stuck in the tires. Look for any signs of braking system problems, such as excessive brake dust on the wheels or trails of fluid on the wheel or tires. Check the springs, spring hangers, shackles, U-bolts, and shock absorbers. On the leaf springs, there should be no broken leaves or gaps between the leaves. Check any equipment in the rear portion of the cab and make sure it is properly stowed. Moving on to the front of the vehicle, check for any body damage. Look under the front to inspect the axle, steering system, and pump piping, if any. Check the condition of the windshield and the wiper blades. If you have equipment in the front bumper area, such as a pump intake or discharge, or a winch or hydraulic rescue tool system, check these out to be sure that they are in working order. Move around to the right side of the vehicle and perform the same checks that you did on the left side. Now, move back to the right rear side and again check for body damage. Check the tires and wheels. Since most apparatus have dual rear wheels, notice if they are in alignment, such that they don't touch each other or other parts of the vehicle. Check the mud flaps to be sure they are properly attached. Check the compartment doors to be sure they close completely and that the equipment is properly stowed. Inspect any hose that is stored midship or on the side to be sure that it is securely stowed. Check the top-mounted booster reel. and visually check the water level in the booster tank. Fill up the water tank if it is not full. You will need to flush the tank water regularly to reduce the possibility of rust, but maintaining a full tank is your assurance of maximum effectiveness at the next alarm. Make sure that any equipment stored on the exterior of the vehicle is secure and in good condition. Notice if the reflective striping on the side of the apparatus is in good shape. Move to the rear of the vehicle. Notice if there is any damage to the rear bumper or tailboard. Check the door and any equipment in the rear compartment. And check the towing attachment for damage. Inspect the hose loads in the main hose bed. Make sure there is enough hose and that it is loaded and finished correctly. Check any hose bed covers or doors. Move around to the left rear side and inspect it as you did the right side. Once you have inspected the exterior of the apparatus, get in the cab and begin the mechanical check. Start the apparatus. Check that the seat belts are in good condition and that they operate smoothly. Check the mirrors and the steering wheel for proper adjustment. Notice all of the gauges on the dashboard to see that they are functioning correctly. The speedometer should be at 0. If it is not, either the gauge is defective or the truck is in pump gear. Put it back in drive gear. Make sure you have enough fuel. Most departments maintain the tank at least 3/4 full at all times. Now check the switches and lights. You may need a second person to assist you in checking the lights, or you may need to leave the cab to check. Notice if all the lights are working properly, and if the lenses are clean and not broken. Check the turn signals and high beam headlights. To check the audible warning devices such as sirens and air horns, the apparatus should be out of the bay and personnel should be wearing ear protection. Check the steering system for proper adjustment and reaction. The steering wheel should not have more than 10 degrees of excess play in either direction. A very important check is the braking system. Make sure that the air pressure is built up and then test the brakes. While maintaining pressure on the foot pedal, make sure that it doesn't slowly move closer to the floor. If the pedal does travel to the floor, it indicates a serious problem with the system, and the vehicle should be taken out of service. NFPA 1901 requires that the brakes on new apparatus can bring the vehicle to a complete stop from 20 miles per hour, or 32 kilometers per hour, in 35 feet, or 10.7 meters, or less. Continue the daily inspection by looking inside the engine compartment. Begin by checking the crankcase oil to make sure it is at the proper level. If the oil level is low, add oil. Check the air filter. If you have a diesel engine, check the emergency shutdown switch and manual reset to make sure it is working properly. Check the level of the coolant in the radiator. If the level is below the fill line, additional coolant will need to be added. Check all batteries to be sure that terminals and cables are tight. Clean off any corrosion on the terminals with a solution of baking soda and water. Inspect the cooling fan for cracks or missing blades. Check the fan belt and the belts on the generator or alternator. Be sure that they are tight and free of cracks or cuts. Check the level of the windshield washer fluid and refill if needed. Check the levels for the automatic transmission fluid and power steering fluid. If the fluid level is low, make a note on your checklist to be sure it gets replaced. For apparatus with air brakes, check to see if the air system has a manual or auto bleed system. If it is a manual system, it will be necessary to have moisture bled from the air tanks periodically. And finally, check the electrical wiring to see if you find any frayed or loose wires. Routine maintenance assures optimum performance and reliability. Some regular maintenance tasks are: if dirt can be seen on the apparatus, wash and dry the entire vehicle and clean the windows. Clean underneath the apparatus chassis and clean the engine. Perform a thorough battery check. Inspect for corrosion of the terminals and clean the terminals if necessary. Operate the valves in the auxiliary cooling system. Check the drive shaft and the universal joints for excessive play. Periodic maintenance should be performed by qualified service personnel. Periodic service tasks include changing the crankcase oil, replacing dirty filters, lubricating the necessary parts, and checking the fuel pump. Annually, both gasoline and diesel engines should be tuned up, and each year the fire apparatus should be service tested. The equipment carried on the apparatus also requires ongoing preventive maintenance. Daily maintenance of equipment begins with checking all portable extinguishers. Lift the extinguisher and inspect for damage. Check the gauges. Take an inventory of all nozzles and appliances. Operate all valves. Check the air pressure in breathing apparatus. Check all spare air bottles. Examine the regulators. Turn on all hand lights and flashlights to be sure they are in working order. Weekly maintenance includes cleaning the equipment as necessary. After checking for proper oil level, start all portable engines or motor-driven equipment and allow them to warm up. Periodically, lubricate all of the motor-driven, gear-driven, or hand-operated appliances according to the manufacturer's specifications. Other periodic maintenance includes removing all hose from the apparatus and checking the condition of the hose. Hose that is in good condition should be reloaded, changing the bends. Hose should be service tested each year. You should also periodically remove all the ladders from their racks. Inspect them to ensure that they are in good operating condition, and then clean them by hand. Along with your maintenance schedule for the vehicle, you will need to establish regular preventive maintenance procedures for the fire pump. Such procedures will be helpful in prolonging the life of the pump, as well as detecting early signs of pump failure. Operate the pump primer with all pump valves closed and the pump dry. The intake gauge should read 22 inches of vacuum within 30 seconds. When the primer is released, the vacuum reading should not drop more than 10 inches in 10 minutes. If it is your department's policy to carry the pump full of water, it is recommended that you flush it with clear water each week. Check all drains for operation. Be sure that hose connections do not contain any foreign objects that could be drawn into the pump. Clean the intake strainers weekly or after each use. Check the packing glands for excessive leaks. With the pump turning and under pressure, water should be dripping from the packing gland, not running in a steady stream. If you must tighten the packing glands, be sure to follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Operate all of the valves, including the relief valve or governor, each week. Periodically, you should have the pump gearbox checked for the proper oil level. Also check for traces of water. Read the manufacturer's recommendations for additional maintenance or inspection instructions. Once a year, the pump should be completely service tested according to NFPA Standard 1911. All gauges should be checked against a test gauge to be certain they are registering correctly. In this program, you have seen a demonstration of a walk-around or circle pre-trip inspection. You have seen the tasks for performing periodic maintenance of the apparatus and the equipment carried on the apparatus. And you have seen a demonstration of inspection and preventive maintenance for the fire pump. Inspection and preventive maintenance serves three functions. It ensures apparatus reliability, it reduces the frequency and cost of repairs, and it lessens out-of-service time for the apparatus. By following proper maintenance and inspection procedures, you provide your department and your community with the best assurance that the apparatus is 100% ready for the next incoming alarm.